King DOTTA responds to Samson.
Sometimes it seems like
let's check this
they
out.
just choose to not even get it.
Welcome to Pegasus versus the World, where we take on challenges, comedy, trending topics, and some travel. City boy! City boy! All right, you guys, we're back. We are back. And King DOTTA did a response to Samson called Tell No Lies. I literally just reacted to Samson's tipping point. So I figured, why not bring the other side up and listen to what they have to say, right? I enjoyed Samson's track. I thought it was pretty balanced. And I there's a lot of crazy things going on. Now, if this is a response, then this is probably going to be political and about Charlie Kirk. So, just be forewarned, you guys. Be prepared. I know that I sit somewhere different with my ideology and my in politics than King DOTTA, right? But I always think it's good, like, if we're just being honest, I think it's good for both sides to have a conversation. And I actually think that's what Charlie Kirk embodied, right? So I just thought, hey, me and King DOTTA battled. It was a really good battle. He's a dope MC, dope lyricist. Let's see what he's got on the chopping block for Samson. Again, I just reacted to Samson's tipping point. So I just heard it, and I'll release this where Samson will come out the first day, and this one will come out the second day. This is the response, so let's see what this is about. Does King DOTTA tell no lies?
Yeah.
Yo, if you don't know who I am, I'm Black Pegasus. Yo, like, share, comment, describe. Link in the description of my other channels.
Sometimes it seems like they just choose to not even get it. I guess it ain't for you. Fuck is a Samson. Yo. R.I.P. to Who Floyd, cause I don't mourn racist. I'd rather extend my love to niggas who ain't make it. Devil's hard at work, but no, I'm not religious. But you celebrating bitches and label them as prestigious. You can't fathom the grief, had to be an act. Deal with it for 4 centuries, then see how you'd react. You wrote 5 intros and stuck with the trash. Took me 20 minutes just to get you stuffed in a bag. You feel obligated, well, nigga, so do I, to speak for people who express how they feel when that evil die. You not much of a thinker, cause you sounded dumb a lot. All this necrophilia, get off of Charlie fucking cock. Facts are distorted, yeah, how stats are reported. He never had office, but he programmed voters. Military honors, wasn't no damn soldier. Boy, I do this cause it's right, not exposure. I said I promise it's nothing I wouldn't do for you. I say I promise it's nothing I wouldn't do for you. I wouldn't lie to win or even to lose for you. Yeah. I said I promise there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. I said I promise there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. If you support that loser, then you's a loser too. Just off statistics alone.
This is crazy what music is, dog. Yo, straight up, because I'm actually grooving to this. Like, anyways, let's get to the music first, then we'll get to the subject matter, right? Because there's, I have to give him some pushback. I see things differently in the world, right? So I got to give him some pushback on some of these lyrics. But the music, man, like, he picked a dope beat, and his approach is different than Samson's. Samson went incredible with his word scheming. So he was using these intricate internal rhyme schemes and setting up these punchlines with like a somewhat complex subject matter telling a story, which is super fire. King DOTTA's taking a totally different approach. He's making a song. So he's dissing Samson, but he's also getting into political content and dissing Charlie Kirk while taking the approach of turning it into a song. Like, and that's the thing I noticed King DOTTA does really well, is he's a songwriter, and he's able to incorporate that in this in these battles. Like when he's going after people, because this is one thing that I noticed. Like he gets after people. So that's where we're at right here. But musically, I actually think the hook is actually catchy. It kind of draws me in. I don't know if that's him singing or like a homie, but I think it draws me in. But I really like the beat. It's just laid back. It's funny because the lyrics are way more aggressive than the actual beat. And that necrophiliac bar, that's actually a bar. Like, that's a bar, even though it's hella disrespectful. Like, if I'm just keeping the buck, that's hella crazy, right? But let's get into these lyrics and some of the subject matter here. Where did he start spitting? I think right around here.
Who ain't make it? Devil's hard at work, but no, I'm not religious. But you celebrating bitches and label them as prestigious.
So he's going back because I believe at the beginning of Samson's song, he's just talking about, you know, R.I.P. Charlie Kirk, and then he goes, the devil's hard at work. And then and it's funny because he's like, I'm not religious, but I'm just going to keep it real. I'm religious. I'm Christian straight up. So, you know, like, this is why I lean politically the way I lean, not because I believe in politics or the right or the left, because they both do injustice to the people in general, but the right steers more to traditionalism, right? And I'm more of a traditional person. That's just the truth. And anyone with Christian values knows that some things on the docket for the Democratic Party goes legitly against Christian values. But then again, for example, my father, like, votes Democrat. Like, that's his thing. And he's like, that's why I'm like, bro, my parents were crazy Christian, playing gospel music, da-da-da-da. And he's still going to vote Democrat, even though there's mad stuff that when I ask him, I'm like, hey, you don't agree with this. And I'm like, they pushed this, though. And he never really has an answer. Anyways, that's a whole nother story for another day. Let's keep this moving. I'm just saying I'm religious. So, like, if I do have a bias, I'm just keeping it a buck. Like, that's just what it is.
You can't fathom the grief. Had to be an act. Deal with it for 4 centuries, then see how you'd react. You wrote 5 intros and stuck with the trash. Took me 20 minutes just to get you stuffed in a bag.
So he's basically saying, took me 20 minutes to make this song. The intro you wrote for your song Tipping Point is trash. So he's getting at him as a lyricist, but then he puts the social awareness. You're grieving over Charlie Kirk, but we're grieving over 400 years of, you know, slavery, racism, you know, historic things. This is what I would challenge King DOTTA with, though, because I always push back on these concepts and I'm not big broing King DOTTA. Like, I'm just going to keep it a buck. I thought very similar. And as I've gotten older, I see things a little bit differently. And my question is this: would our ancestors want us to toil in the pain, the hardship, the death that they toiled in or had to live through? Or would they want us to take advantage of what they prepared for us, right? Like, our ancestors, and this goes for, like, this is what's crazy, like, the black plight in America is different than other plights, but all of us have a plight related to our lineage, our genetics, our culture, all these different things. Like, we all, like, there's struggle within all of our bloodlines at some capacity. And so there's this thing that goes on in society where people will be like, well, my struggle is worse. Well, I'm broke. Well, I came from this. I came from a war-torn country. And it's like this whole thing. But my mentality, when I became successful, I had to change the way I viewed things. I have to look at this. My ancestors, right? And I'm mixed, right? So, you know, a lot of different things going on. But my dad is black, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm connected to my culture growing up, seeing all the things I've seen. So would my ancestors that died for all, you know, went through all these things, would they want me to focus? What would they want me to focus on, right? Because their death and the struggle they went through, even some of the things my father went through in the military, he had to face some things. We talk about it. I've talked about it on this channel. And they went through all that so that you could sit at the table with advantages. So we're in this time frame where certain people, and when I say people, I'm not talking about black people, because what I've noticed, it's also a generational thing. The generation will be like, yo, I'm entitled to, let's say, lower interest rates. I'm entitled to this. I don't want to lose my train of thought here. But what I'm trying to say is, would our ancestors want us to take advantage of what they went through, or not advantage of what they went, but take advantage of what has come from all the pain and struggle and hardship they went through, right? They didn't go through the civil rights movement for nothing. They didn't die. They weren't just whipped. They weren't picking cotton. They didn't do all these things. They didn't rise above the nonsense for nothing. They didn't, entertainers having to use different fountains and different bathrooms, but, have the same draw as their counterparts. Athletes going through all these different things. They didn't do that. So we could sit here at a table and finally be at a place where we could take advantage and have privileges because they built that for us, right? Now, I get it, generational wealth and trickle-down economics didn't funnel through the black community in America the same way it did in other sections of America through different communities, but it did trickle down in some capacity because there were rich black folks in America as well. So it's just a complicated subject just to say, 400 years. Well, I look at it like this. Our ancestors went through all these things. So we are at a place in America where America, the concept of America has created the most black millionaires, the most black billionaires, the most black middle class, and the most impactful black voices in the world. I'm going to say it again. I want to challenge people to realize not the America they want. So people want a different America. They're saying this America is bad. We want a different America. This America that we say is bad has created the most black millionaires, black billionaires, black middle class, and created the most impactful black voices in the world, right? There's rappers like Snoop Dogg who are more well-known internationally than Nelson Mandela. Barack Obama was the president. There's just all these nuances to America that if we tear it down, there's not a promise that what's at the end of the road is better, even though you may think that. So anyways, connecting 400 years to people grieving over Charlie Kirk, I just think we have to view things differently, right? But let's get into this. I think a person should grieve over someone passing away in an inhumane fashion, period, right? When George Floyd first passed away, I think everyone was in agreement, this is effed up. Then more things came out. It was like, oh, he was on that Fetty, he was this, that, the other, and people made their own decisions. I still personally think it's distasteful to spit on the grave of people. But we're also in the era where rappers their op will get clapped and then they go do a music video literally pissing on their grave. So we're just in a new era. But I think it's distasteful to shit on Charlie Kirk, just like I think it's distasteful to shit on people, after they're gone in general, right? But let me hear this out.
You feel obligated? Well, nigga, so do I, to speak for people who express how they feel when that evil die. You not much of a thinker.
They keep calling Charlie Kirk evil. I'll address that more in this because I want to hear more of what he's saying. But they say he's evil and racist, and we have to address that in this reaction. But let's listen. I want to hear King DOTTA out.
You sounded dumb a lot. All this necrophilia. Get off of Charlie fucking cock. Facts are distorted. Yeah, how stats are reported. He never had office, but he programmed voters. Military honors, wasn't no damn soldier. Boy, I do this cause it's right, not exposure. I said I promise it's nothing I wouldn't do for you. I say I promise it's nothing I wouldn't do for you. I wouldn't lie to win or even to lose for you. Yeah. I said I promise there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. I said I promise there's nothing I wouldn't do for you. If you support that loser, then you's a loser too. Just off statistics alone, 71% chance he couldn't get in my home. One condoned public execution, nigga wildin'. The other went to jail, but none of it was violent. Y'all lit candles, you talking home decor. You blew up Black Wall Street before they blew up a store and never paid for it. So what song do you got to say for it? Want that Kirk clout, and he chose to play safe for it. His flow boring, Samson knows he couldn't spit snot. Racist ass talking points and disrespecting hip-hop. Oh, they was peaceful, screaming white man fight. Take that white man privilege, change that white man life. You preach the First Amendment, I'm calling Colin Cap, cause none of y'all protest the NFL to call Colin back. We never ask for friends, we just speak facts. You want validation from MAGA, that's why your shit is whack.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie, So we gonna talk about a bunch of things here, but let's talk about the raps because he's rapping, you know. And yo, Samson was rapping, like his internal words scheme. So shout out to Samson. But right now we like this whole I'm calling Cap is that's a crazy bar. Like if we're just keeping it a buck, yo. So Colin Kaepernick, but I'm calling Cap, like, you know, in the rap world, Cap, you lying, you know, but Colin. So flipping his name as Colin Kaepernick and then like I'm calling you, Colin Cap is crazy. Like that stood out to me. There's some more bars in there, but that's the highlight. So Necrophiliac and Colin Cap is a highlight bar, and he's just throwing them in there like a little like oh this ain't nothing. Now again, I actually like the hook. I do think so as I'm listening to the melody's right. I think it could have been tightened up just a little bit, but I don't know if it's him singing it or someone else. You know what I'm saying? But it is catchy, and he took the approach as I'm gonna make a song verse. I'm just gonna spit a long verse, like, you know, like when me and him battled. That's kind of what I did. I was just spitting these long ass verses. So you know. But anyways, let's get into the lyrics though. There's some things, man, and I'm just gonna keep it a buck. Like I push back on this stuff because if we gonna call everyone a racist, dog, what's the definition of racist, right? Because just having different ideas or being an asshole doesn't make you a racist, dog. Straight up. Like for me, being a racist is having a hatred for another people and believing those people are inferior to you or your people. That is in my opinion, like just off the top of the dome, that's the definition of racism. Like this internal hate for another group of people because of the way they look, and then internalizing that your race or your people or you are better than those people and superior. So when we start saying these things, like we have to be able to back that up. I think calling someone a racist is used so loosely. When there is a real racist, we need to call them out. But if we call everyone a racist, it just doesn't have that potency no more. And that's where I think we're at. So I'm just, you know, that's just how my brain works.
Just off statistics alone, 71% chance he couldn't get in my home. One condoned public execution, nigga wildin'. The other went to jail, but none of it was violent. Y'all lit candles, you talking home decor. You blew up Black Wall Street before they blew up a store and never paid for it. So what song do you got to say for it? Want that Kirk clout, and he chose to play safe for it.
So he's saying that Samson's rapping about Charlie Kirk for clout, and he's also saying that Samson's a racist. I would push back on that. I haven't seen anything from Samson from my aspect where Samson thinks that, you know, black people or people that don't look like him are lesser than him. That's just my observation. I'm not here to argue that. I'm here to break this track down. We are not going to dodge the historical things that black folks went through in our country. And it's weird I say that like I ain't black. I'm not trying to reference it like that, but whatever. I'm just saying like historically there is wild that has happened to black folks in America, and we all know that, and we need to acknowledge that. Now let's get into the Black Wall Street. That shit is foul, bro. You know, black folks started to utilize capitalism, which capitalism does work. And Black Wall Street is an example of capitalism working at the highest level. And because it was working so well, black community, black banks, doing all this stuff, starting to ball out, it was destroyed. So when people go on these crazy, frantic blah blahs about capitalism, let's just remember it does work when it's done properly. Simple form, it's just when markets compete and there's a winner. Now, typically at the top, when these winners are rigging it out of greed, right? And in this case, they blew up Black Wall Street and effed up the whole economic structure that was going on there. Now, this is where it gets complicated. At that time, it was Southern Democrats, right? The Dixies is what they called them, right? It was the Democratic Party who was involved in the KKK blowing up Black Wall Street. Fact check me. But that's what's wild about these conversations. The Republican Party was the first party to have black, Latin senators and congressmen. They were the first party to actually work with minorities. So it gets really tricky when you just start throwing things in the air and we're saying certain things, right? But I'm going to listen to more. The Black Wall Street, I get what he's saying. He's challenging Charlie Kirk's messaging that I believe was put out of context, because Charlie Kirk would have wild takes that I don't even agree with, right? Like the abortion take, I'm just like, bro, like I get it. I'm hardcore Christian. I don't believe in abortions, but I'm not going to say like if a girl got the R worded or incest that it's like I'm just not like I'm not an absolutist in that fashion, right? Also with his civil rights take, I understood what he was saying, but I could understand how people wouldn't, right? He's not saying the concept of civil rights was bad. People coming together, all of us working together is bad. Charlie Kirk never said that. He said that the outcome of it was prioritizing race than skill levels and merit. That's all he's saying. And he's saying skill and merit should always be valued more than what you look like. And I understand where that's coming from. But people take things and run with it, go different directions. So let me hear some more, because I do have another take on the racist concept. But
his flow boring. Samson knows he couldn't spit snot. Racist ass talking points and disrespecting hip hop. Oh, they was peaceful, screaming white man fight. Take that white man privilege, change that white man life. You preach the First Amendment, I'm calling Colin Cap, cause none of y'all protested NFL to call Colin back. We never ask for friends, we just speak facts. You want validation from MAGA, that's why your shit is whack, nigga.
I didn't even address the Colin Kaepernick stuff. Like, I'm just like, yo, we do have freedom of speech and expression. So I'm like, literally people fought and died in wars so Colin Kaepernick could kneel during the national anthem. I would never kneel during the national anthem. Now, there was a part in my life where I wanted to tear down America. Straight up. I remember being at Nuggets games. They do the national anthem. I'd just sit down like, man, they trying to hold me back. Like, yo, blah, blah, I'm blah, blah, blah. But I also grew, and it was crazy because what happened was a bunch of my friends were in the military, because I live in a military town. My dad's 21 years in the Air Force, and they were coming home in body bags. And I realized at that moment that, you know, the national anthem was just paying homage to them for, you know, like there was, you know what I'm saying? I was like, man, I can't, but I'm not going to act like I haven't sat through a national anthem before in my youth. Like I was wilding. So like I'm speaking from two different perspectives, from being like straight up, like I toured with Immortal Technique. I listened to Dead Prez. Like literally Dead Prez is promoting socialism. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I grew up. But I've changed because of life experience and seeing things and growing. And some people will appreciate that, some won't. But that's just my take on it. With Colin Cap, I don't care that he did that. I understand why people thought it was distasteful. Also, in the name that he did it for brutality, for police brutality on black people. He talked about statistics, but when you dive into the statistics of black people being brutalized or killed by police, it is kind of crazy, because it's not like staggering numbers. Like you people, like I've seen these debates and these challenges. How many people, you know, by the police last year? And it's like people think 1,000, 2,000, 5,000. It's just like this low ass number. It's like 15 in a year. But like this is also based off the premise we're also dealing with corrupt police departments at times. Egotistical, power-driven police officers, and people are throwing the baby out with the bathwater because they have one bad interaction versus the whole system's interaction in general. Also, like a lot of things have changed in policing. There's less police. There's more minority police. There's a lot of things going on. But those are complex subjects. I'm trying to do a rap reaction. And when you start talking politics, it just, for me, it gets deeper because there's so much complexity that I didn't know even 6 years ago that I've learned that has made me change my stance and be just more nuanced with the conversation piece.
I said I promise I'ma keep that shit a buck. We fight for ours while they never gave a fuck. We fight for ours and they ain't never gave a fuck.
It's not a us versus them. I'm pushing back King DOTTA. You know, look, I'm doing this reaction because I think it's only right to hear both sides. And I think even in the past, I did him dirty in the sense of not hearing him out in his Knox Hill battle. So I think it's dope that I get to do this. This fit perfectly because on this channel, we talk about stuff like this. But I'm going to just keep it a buck. It's not us versus them. You know, we fight for ours. But to get to where we're at, to even get through the civil rights movement, you can go back and look at the picture. It's literally white folks interlocking their arms with black folks, walking into these crazy protests where everyone was getting sprayed down with water and dogs sicked on them. Right? It wasn't just black folks. You know, white folks was locking arms with MLK. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is what it is. Like, so we can get lost in the shuffle of race, which there are things that should be addressed. I think the right gets certain things wrong with some of the racial, like, but I feel like they get a lot more right than the left at times. Actually, I don't even want to go into that because that's kind of weedy. But we as people, not just black people, as actual people, have to start looking at this differently. I don't know why we think that we got to where we got in America by just black power, fight the power, because that's just not how it happened. There's a lot of white folks rocking with us to get here. And we need to start seeing it in a more balanced lens other than everyone's trying to hold us back. And that just goes for anyone, right? Because this generation, Gen Z, will argue that it's the boomers holding them back, you know? Like, everyone is in this mindset that da-da-da-da. So I'm just saying, it ain't us versus them, dog. I think he knows that. I think, but I got to say it because I heard it, right?
I said I promise I'm only keeping it real. I said I promise I'm only keeping it real. Don't ever give a nigga like this a deal. Yeah, I promise. Banging Wu-Tang, gotta protect your neck, you know. Red pill talk put me to sleep, it must be second, no. 13% ain't real and I kinda hate it. Cause it's us that make up 50% exonerated. And they hate it. Getting arrested for shit that we don't do sound like America is racist. It ain't about who was the father to, it's about my people getting killed and shit doesn't bother you. Oh, they confused, they don't understand shit. Why Trump released the rapists who ran up on Jan 6? I'm not holier than thou, but if you talking to me, hope your daughter don't see that one day with Charlie you'd agree. Who's pedos? POTUS don't respect women with legs closed. And he was on that list from the get-go. Man, they racist and it's evident. Last thing, want Jasmine Crockett for president. Yo, he's hey, yo, I mean, it's like,
hell no, dog.
We sit here.
This fool said Jasmine Crockett, bro. You could have said anyone, homie. Like, nah, dog. Like, nah, that's the one where I got to clown a little bit, man. You tripping, bro. Bro. Anyways, I'm old school anyway, so, like, that's just a wild take for multiple reasons, but I'm going to let it rock. You know, this is your art. This is your ideas. Okay, multiple things. What did I want to go into? One, there's PDF files on both sides, dog. Like, I'm just going to keep it real. And Trump don't get a pass when it comes to the Epstizzle shit. Him not releasing the Epstein files. Like, look, man, we might have some peace in the Middle East coming up. You know, I'm going to give him his props for the things he's done. That, because, like, people act like everything Trump's done is wrong, bro. Like, if you go down, if you really look, like, he's done some stuff where you're like, damn, I got to give him credit. But people won't give him that credit, but I will. But I'm also not giving him a pass for the Epstizzle files, y'all. Like, he's tripping, dog. Like, straight up. And there's other things, because I be going into deep dives, like the giving Palantir the rights to all our AI intelligence and surveillance is wild, bro. So, like, I push back on both parties, even though I rock with the right a little more than the left. You know, this whole racist thing, like, let's talk about it real quick. I think it's a wild take to call Charlie Kirk a racist just because he's presenting ideas. Like, I don't know if people know this. He had a Black Leadership Summit. Like, he literally had a sect of Turning Point USA that was a Black Leadership Summit. And I've seen black folks coming out like, yeah, I couldn't afford it. But then Charlie would just reach out to me and be like, oh, we have a scholarship program. Bro, I'm telling y'all, saying racist so loosely is ignorant, bro. Like, it's watering down the term, bro, because we can't act like there's legit neo-Nazis. There's legit, like, KKK dudes. There's legit people who think black folks are inferior, that think other races are inferior. And if Charlie Kirk thought that, one, he wouldn't be a real Christian. Two, he wouldn't have a Black Leadership Summit. You know, there's mad stuff in here I missed. He talked about him programming people. I would argue that a more orchestrated systemic programming tool is Hollywood movies, music, and mainstream media. You know what I'm saying? But this is why people actually listen to podcasts and debate, because they want to break free from actual programming. Also calling Donald Trump a racist. I think Donald Trump's an asshole. I actually think King DOTTA should like Donald Trump. I'm going to tell you why. Maybe not as a politician. King DOTTA's Donald Trump, bro. I'm going to say it again. King DOTTA is Donald Trump. Now hear me out. Donald Trump he plays the heel. Even though people love him, he plays a heel. He trolls people. He talks shit. Donald Trump is a battle rapper. That's just what it is, man. It's the truth. Yo, some people don't. I just see things differently. So I always thought it was incredible that, you know, King DOTTA might hate Donald Trump. Eminem hates Donald Trump. But there's a parallel between their personas. Crazy. I know that sounds crazy. And then the racist thing, bro. Donald Trump literally donated to Jesse Jackson's first run as president, bro. Remember when Jesse Jackson was running for president? Donald Trump donated to him. Donald Trump's cool with all the black fighters. And I guess they're like, oh, you have a black friend, you could still be racist. Look, I don't think Donald Trump thinks black folks are inferior. I think Donald Trump knows how to get business done, and that's what he tries to do. Do I agree with him politically? Do I give him a pass for the Epstein files? No, right? Some of his politics I agree with. Some of them I don't. But anyways, all this just throwing racists out there so loosely, dog. I'm just telling y'all, and y'all being the people who use it so loosely, hey, man, it's going to water that shit down, man. It's already watered it down.
See this bullshit they be putting out there? All these fake-ass statistics. 13%, 16%, 50%. They never get the numbers right.
What is he talking about? The population, black population?
And we got goofy ass niggas like Samson out here dick riding. Boy, what? Hey, first of all, my nigga, you ain't even good enough to even put yourself in that type of situation. You caping for a racist while using motherfucking hip hop as your basis. What? But it's alright though. I got something to clean this bullshit up. This is not a game for me. It's not a joke. All of that bullshit gotta stop. If you ain't ready for what we got, then you gotta get the fuck up out of here. I ain't right. I ain't got nothing to say other than fuck you, nigga.
Damn.
Hey, Samson.
Remember when Trump called Rosie O'Donnell like horse face or something? Like, what? DOTTA's doing the same thing, bro. You know, deep down, DOTTA gotta laugh at some of the shit Trump be doing. He has to, bro. If he can't see the humor in this presidency, there's no hope. There's literally no hope. And I agreed with some of DOTTA's take with these UK rappers, because hip hop is an American thing. It's an American culture, but it was birthed because of the way because all of the things that came together in America, right? Like the poor community not having access to piano lessons, guitars and stuff, and they made something out of nothing. So like I agreed with his takes on the UK, but also hip hop's a part of music, and music is a universal language, right? Everyone had music all over the world before we started making genres of rock, opera, folk music, polka, hip hop, jazz, you know what I'm saying? And I do think a lot of black folks got exploited, you know? I'm reading these stories as I do these classic rock reactions. Led Zeppelin stole mad music from blues artists and shit, and you're like, what? They didn't get credit for writing that? You know, the homie Frankie Lyman, I was just reading how he got jerked in his record contract, you know, because he was a young black artist. You know, these things are real. I'm not ever going to negate that. But when we talking about this right now and right here, all these people went through this bullshit, so we shouldn't have to go through it now, right? And we don't go through it now in the way they went through it. So holding on to their anguish, their angst, their pain as we're living the same pain that our ancestors lived is crazy. I think they would want us to rise above and get this bag because, bruh, things are shifting. But anyways, on some real spit. Hold on, I didn't even finish the track. I'm gonna let him speak.
What we got, you gotta get the fuck up out of here. I ain't right. I ain't got nothing to say other than fuck you, nigga.
King Dotta's tripping.
Hey, Samson.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to George Floyd, nigga. Rest in peace to that. Yeah. B2 on the way.
I think King Dotta, and I'm not trying to speak for him, I'm telling y'all what I think. This is a reaction, right? I think he actually does feel the way he feels politically and ideologically, but I do think he might be utilizing some of the situation of the Charlie Kirk assassination to you know, play that role even more, right? Anyways, you know, my take is going to be my take. I still feel the same way. I still feel like I'm not here to piss on people's graves. I'm just not going to. Even if I disagree with someone, you know, I try to let it breathe. But hey, man, I'm a hypocrite too, man. I'm a clumsy human. Maybe might, you know, walk some of that back. Like one day y'all see me on here just set tripping, like, yo, dog, da 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 da. Anyways, I still think that was a solid track though. He put together a song that was solid, right? It was a solid track. I like the beat selection. He chose to get a laid-back beat, but then have aggressive lyrics and subject matter. He has a good voice, he has good wordplay, and he had some cataclysmic punchlines in there. Did I think Samson focused on his wordplay and internal rhyme schemes way more? Absolutely. So there's going to be an argument here, like I could see someone being like, yo, I like this as a song better. I like Samson's as a verse better. Some people are going to be like, I like Samson's as a song better. To each his own. That's my what do I always say? That's my, and I'm sticking to it. Anyways, yeah, King Dotta, Tell No Lies, real Samson response. Let me know what I got, what I missed. Holler. I know that was long-winded, y'all, but when we get into politics and social shit, it's complex, man. That's why you can't do sound bites with shit like this.
City boy, city boy.